Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here, and it's Wednesday, and we have won a game against Portland last night. And today we also have a 9:05 game later today at home at Paramount Fine Food Center against the Capital City Go-Go. So the Raptors 9:05 will get to try to extend their excellent start to the G League season of 8-0 to be 9-0 tonight against Capital City Go-Go. And I'll have the refs and the lineup for the Go-Go to go over very soon. But we're reacting to the Raptors win over Portland last night. Fantastic game from what I hear. For the most part, I didn't watch the game, guys. This is the first time in years that I haven't watched a Raptors game. And I blame this hotel that I'm staying in because they only have one TSN channel, and they blacked out the game from me in my hotel room last night. So I am going to react to this game very dutifully still because I watched the extended highlights from NBA.com. I watched the game through the box score. I saw all the interviews and I watched all the highlights. So I've seen most of the game that matters. And well, I'm going to wing it, but I have to be honest. I mean, I saw one of the ways you can miss the game if you're just living in Ontario. And they hold this back. I mean, unless you're paying for all the packages for all the channels, and this hotel isn't, obviously, because they had a 2USN2 channel that I could turn it to, but the screen said this game is blacked out in your area and you cannot watch it. So it's kind of crazy. I mean, I knew that they were trying to hurt the Raptors, but yeah, seeing it this way and this happening last night and me breaking a streak of watching consecutive Raptor games, well, is due to a blackout. And it's really because the Leafs were playing at the same time, and the Leafs were getting priority on the TSN channel that we're on in this hotel. And so I was not able to watch the game, guys. It's kind of crazy. Like I said, I have a streak of watching the games where I haven't missed a game in years. That got broken last night. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, either way, I'm going to do my best. And you know what? We'll see how Lex reacts to a game that he didn't actually watch. Because in some ways, it's going to be amazing that I can do it. Because I bet you I can still do it pretty good. Watch. All right, let's see. We'll start with the comments first. And then you know what? Let me do the preview real quick for the game first tonight. As I said, Capital City Go-Go are in town, and they're going to be playing Raptors 9:05 in Mississauga. And, well, the true chief is going to be Pat O'Connell, number 73. The referee is Julian Scott, number 61. And the umpire is Josh Reed, number 28. So, yeah, that's our crew for the 9:05 game tonight. And these are the players for Capital City Go-Go. Who's on their team this year? You know, we had trouble with Capital City Go-Go a couple of years ago where we couldn't beat them, but we beat them pretty good last year. So they change all the time. So it's not like it's the same team. First of all, Leaky Black is on Capital City Go-Go this year. Longtime G League player Leaky Black out of North Carolina is on their team. Their best player is Sharif Cooper. He's somebody we got to watch out for out of Auburn, the 6-foot guard. Keyshawn Gilbert, Cole Gak, Nolan Hickman, AJ Johnson, who's also on the Wizards, who is a draft pick of the Bucks, who got traded to the Wizards. Scale Labisserie, Chris Mantis, Jonathan Pierre, Kadari Richmond, Tristan Vucevic, who we know is one of their backup centers for the Wizards. He's on this level. Florida State's Jameer Watkins and Alondes Williams is the roster for the Capital City Go-Go. Well, Coach Andrew Jones, that's the next one's on your plate, Leaky Black and crew. So, yeah, hopefully we can kick their butts. So there's your real quick preview for the G League game for the Raptors 9:05 tonight. Not 7:30 start, I believe, 7 or 7:30. And let's go, Andrew Jones and Julian Reese. Let's go and kick some butt tonight. Yeah. All right, let's see what Trevor's saying. First, in the words of wisdom, when you are grateful for everything that you already have and realize how blessed you are, you create more space for blessings to come into your life. The universe loves a grateful heart always. Appreciate life and tune into abundance. This is awesome. You know, this is something that more later, like in the second part of my life, Like in my early part of my life, I didn't do gratitude exactly right. And the crazy thing is, I had a lot to be grateful for, but I was just living unconsciously and I didn't understand it. And it's really kind of in my 30s, I just started to to have a more gratitude in my life. And I see what Trevor's saying, but I'm still not totally good at it. I'm learning every day. And I feel like this is what everybody should practice and get good at is gratitude to a degree. I mean, it's a great way to cope and to make it through life. But in some ways, also, it's like, I don't know, things are so weird right now. In some ways, we don't want to have gratitude for bad things happening in this world. If we can stop them, we should try and stop them. But yeah, appreciate life and tune into abundance. I love that sentiment. It's like it's a radio station, and if you put it on the right number, you're tuned in on the right frequency. I like that. Trevor J, thank you for your words of wisdom. Here's what he's saying. Great comeback win for the Raptors. Scottie had a master class. Quickly was great. He gives Yak his flowers interview last night. Yeah. Emmanuel quickly saying that Jakob Pertl is one of the best screen setters he's ever played with. Yeah, he didn't even say like in the NBA or anything like that. He's just saying in general, he's played basketball with whatever level, whether it's Kentucky, before that in high school, wherever it was. Jakob Pertl is one of the best screen setters he's ever played with. And he probably is one of the best ones in the league also. Yeah. Yeah. Quickly was interesting in the game last night. From what I saw, he was a flurry of action. And once again, doing what Quickly does as far as getting a lot of offense for the Raptors fast. And he was pretty good last night. He was hitting his shot pretty good last night from what I see. Scottie, all around great game. I think the thing about Scott at this point is what I was wondering a couple weeks ago when he started to show these big boy powers, these moves around the basket in the lane, and the defensive stability in what he's doing right now. Can he be consistent with it? Well, he's showing a consistency over the last stretch of games of being that every game in and game out. And that's the stuff that all-stars, top-level players in this league do. They get to a certain level of consistent output, and Scotty's is on both ends of the court. And you just kind of can be able to pencil them in every single night to give that contribution. And well, Scotty's starting to get like that. I love seeing him make a lot of shots 10 foot or out and in. And a lot of those were high skilled shots, some of them little baby hooks, some of them little turnarounds, but they're going in money. And there's a lot of confidence there. And this is where I wanted Scott to be at this point in his career, as far as like going away from shooting a lot of threes and kind of being a passer to kind of call your own number down low, play bully ball, be a big tough man, and get a lot of high percentage shots because you can make room for yourself down low. And yeah, he's doing that really well. And I feel like, from what I saw in the highlights, he was really operating about 10 feet out and really, really nailing some really good shots, turnarounds, and just shots over the defender. And there's nothing they can do because he's going up with strength and he creates space for himself. So yeah, he's fantastic. In fact, he got the chain again last night. Scotty's got his third chain for the season. And it's three chains. I've been keeping track of who gets the chains. And I believe Scotty got it against Cleveland one time, and he got it earlier this year against Milwaukee also. So yeah, Scotty is my number one star of the game last night. He's a two-way player, 28 points on 10 of 18 shooting, 3 of 7 from 3, 5 of 7 at the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 turnovers, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. But alas, the highest plus minus on the team, a plus 18, and a huge block at the end of the game on Denny. He's just kind of becoming a signature thing for him. Is like in the last 2 minutes of the game, if there's some sort of shot inside where the other team wants to try and get something, Scotty's there to protect and block and be there. And he did that against Denny right at the end with a big, huge signature block once again. And that was very helpful for them to win. So yeah, good job, Scott, all around. Maybe cut down on the turnovers, but otherwise, I can't complain about what you did last night. Scotty very much open about why he's shooting better this year. He said his hands healed. This is what I said all last year. I said last year his hands messed up. That's why he's missing threes. And well, let him heal up, let him come back next year, and he'll shoot really good from three. Watch. And well, Lex was right again. I said this shit last year. I said his hand is messed up. That's why he's missing threes. And now he's telling Kayla Gray, yeah, my hand's feeling better. That's why I'm shooting better now. All right, let's keep going. The second star of the game for me last night was Emmanuel. Emmanuel was the driver of the team for sure. He was doing a lot out there. And you know what? I liked how he balanced passing last night for the most part. It seemed like he was getting other people involved in different ways. Of course, a lot of the different Raptors were getting assists and looking for each other last night. We saw the return of our passing system in the beautiful game where we saw a couple of possessions where the ball moved briskly around and to many people, 5 or 6 passes on an offensive possession by the Raptors. That's a good thing. Maybe in some ways because Portland doesn't have as intense a defense as a team like the Knicks and who we saw on Sunday. And it's easier to move the ball around freely like that. I mean, sometimes that's part of the reason why the stagnation on offense and not being able to move everything is because it's just really difficult because the other team is just a bunch of dogs and they're making it tough for you. But the ball movement returned last night, and that's fantastic. Because we wanted that offense to come back. We didn't really see it in this road trip, this two-step that we went on this weekend. Well, it's nice to see it return. Emmanuel, 35 minutes, 23 points, 9 of 11 shooting. I love that. He only missed 2 shots. That's fantastic. 5 of 6 from 3. He did miss a free throw. 5 rebounds, 8 assists with 2 turnovers, a -7 overall. Yeah, Emmanuel's a chaotic player. And in some ways, it kind of goes against the whole credo of being a point guard. In some ways, you can see how steady Shetty is and how Freddie was before. But Emmanuel's not really a steady guy. In some ways, he's a chaotic force. He's a very all over the place, very quick bursting kind of player. And in some ways, he doesn't play by the regular rules in some ways. And we have to give him allowances for him to be his personality on the court, for him to be absolutely his top self. So in some ways, he can be fundamentally really bad in some ways, and it piss off a lot of people, whether it's that jacking up a 3 when nobody's back and he just in the transition. It's tough, man. He's just a weird player that is just totally different than anybody else in the league other than maybe his old teammate Maxey. And you got to allow Manuel to be himself because that's the way he's the most effective. That's the way he is most effective. My third star of the game last night is Grady Dick. Grady Dick rose up and grew. I think that Darko said something really important about Grady after the game and this is something that, I've been talking about recently, the shadow box score. The shadow box score is not tabulated like the box score I'm reading from right now. There's a lot of intangibles and things that our players are doing to develop and get better that have nothing to do with scoring, have nothing to do with shooting, have nothing to do with stuff that most fans are watching for. The fans are silly. They want perfection. They are getting mad because the Raptors had a close game last night and they got a scare because they almost lost. Woo! But the fans are like demanding, like, why are they so happy? They almost lost to a losing team. Man, these people are idiots. Y'all got to allow for ups and downs, and nothing is perfect in the NBA. I'm sorry. If y'all are expecting people to play perfect games, whether it's a player or the whole entire team, y'all need to stop. Because y'all aren't critics and y'all should not be having that kind of standard for absolute perfection for the Raptors. It's ridiculous. And I think that people have been too hard on Grady. And what Darko said last night is Grady Dick's main focus this season is defense, is doing things on defense. And he openly said there's a lot of things that Grady's doing that is very successful and progressing with his career in the NBA that y'all won't see on the stat sheet. Y'all won't see in some ways, even with your basketball watching eyes. But Darko sees it, and he's saying this is for Grady to be able to stay in the league. He's got to do this. He's got to get really good on defense. So a lot of the things that Grady's working on this season are on that side of the ball. The offensive skills of Grady are undeniable when he's hitting his shot, and you see him making layups and dunks. It's just the most important work for Dick right now is to work on the defensive end. To get better and better as a defender and stronger and, just really master more on that side. And that's really been the assignment for him. He hasn't had major offensive games for most part of the season. And that's why. It's because to make him a fully rounded two-way player in this league, he's got to put in the work on the defensive side extra heavy and hard right now. And that's why we need to allow Grady some grace. And because we were rooting for this young man to get a long NBA career, and he is doing the work to establish that and to enable that to happen. Because if he doesn't get better at defense, there is a path where he finds himself out of the league. So let's let Grady work on what he needs to work on. He had a fantastic game offensively last night, though. 17 minutes, he got 14 points. That's the kind of scoring clip I want from him and Jacoby. Is get close to your minutes per game with your points. 14 points in 17 minutes. That's really good outburst off the bench to bolster our scoring and not a lot of minutes. And that's fantastic. 6 of 8 from the field for Grady, 1 of 3 from 3, 1 of 2 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 1 turnover, and 1 steal, a plus 14. So can we watch Grady with this in mind, that he is more defensive focused right now because he has to well round that side of his game to have a survival in this league. So that's what I'll say to that. My 4th star of the game last night is Colin Murray Boyles. Our rookie has come in and he's put some string of games together that are quite good. I think that the thing I like the most about what Colin's been doing lately is he's playing his position, which is a forward, which is a power forward, and it's a rebounder. And that's what we need. I'm still sick. I apologize. So, 16 minutes, 10 points for Colin, 5 of 7 from the field. He missed the 3 he took, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, a -3. Just solid. I don't want to ask too much of him. Right now, he's off the bench. He's probably going to be a starter at some point in his career, guys. He's already been starting here and there, but he's probably going to be more of a regular starter as his career goes on and he develops and gets better and better. He's going to get stronger, and he's already hella strong. And, his instincts on defense and rebounding are very good. And we just need to continue to train him and develop him. And he will be getting better and better, guys. He's going to get better and better. He can already run with the big boys. And there's no learning curve to try and hold his own. Now he's got to hold his own and then start dominating and start really beating people as he gets stronger and older in this league. That's what's coming with CMB. The last star of the game for me last night is Pirtle. Pirtle was a solid anchor. It seemed like from watching the box score that him and Klingon were kind of nulling each other out as far as 2 big, huge dudes, and just kind of like, because they didn't get a lot of stats themselves. Honestly, they were getting a lot of assists, the 2 centers for a while. And, that's a battle right there. That's a very big dude, Donovan Klingon. And it's a good matchup for Yak to get some workout against a younger guy who's a tough load to hold. So, Jakob, 26 minutes, 11 points, 5 of 7 shooting. He hit his only free throw, and he was 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 turnovers, a +7. So, he was one of the plus guys in this game. And, he was awesome. Yak's just solid. Yak and Scottie connecting a couple times near the end of the game. Scottie, very smart. Keep it simple. Don't go for 3-point shots at the end of the game like so many teams do. Get that ball inside to Yak and let him make a layup. And they did that twice at the end of the game. Scottie finding Yak in the last 2 minutes twice to get easy baskets to keep the score up for us because Portland was threatening. And the way that they were shooting threes early with Kamara made it seem like, the 3-point shot was something the Trailblazers were very heavily relying on. I'm glad the Raptors made an adjustment and stopped them from shooting the threes so well. It's kind of similar to what happened with the Knicks game on Sunday, where somebody comes out and they're really hot, like McBride for the Knicks, and then Tumani was hit hot for the Trailblazers last night, right from the start. And we had to watch out for him. It's like Jack Armstrong was complaining 8 minutes, like just 4 minutes or 8 minutes in the game, and Jack's like, they already got 30 points in the first quarter because the 6 threes that they hit almost immediately right at the beginning of the game and jumped out a huge lead over us. Alas, the Raptors showed good poise, shutting them down, and Darko with well-timed timeouts. And the Raptors starting to execute, and people like Scottie and Colin causing runs in the second quarter. to get the Raptors back on top. And, they had a good lead for most of the third, a good 10-point lead, but then, the Trailblazers making a run at the end. I don't think most casual fans understand that this is a game of runs. And just because we get a 17-point lead or a 10-point lead doesn't mean that's static for the rest of the game. And it's very hard in the NBA to hold leads and hold off runs and stuff like that. These casual fans think that, oh, it's just you. Once you get the 17-point lead, you just lock it in. You go the rest of the game like that. That's not how it works. You got to be ready to withstand runs and be able to, the end of the game. And anybody who's chastising the Raptors for having close games against teams like Charlotte and Portland, y'all are idiots. You do not understand the NBA. It's a very difficult league, and any team, even if it's the shitty ass, the Nets, they can always be a threat to come back and try and score a bunch of points quick. It's the NBA. All 30 teams are good to an extent. It's just the teams in the NBA. Some of them are better than some of the others. But you take the Nets down to the Y, and they're running everybody off the court that's down there, just so you know. And they're beating most Canadian college teams. They're beating a lot of people all over the place. So have some respect here and understand it's a game of runs. If you can be perfect, no, you can't. And Raptors fans need to stop having perfection ideas in their heads about players and how the team performs and stuff like that. I'll give an honorable mention to Brandon Ingram, who seemed like he was a mixed bag in this game. It seemed like he got involved early, which was great. He was making shots early, and I saw effort from him. I saw in the highlights him moving quickly to get to spots closer to the basket, not just settling for shots. And he was also making some great assists to Emmanuel quickly on some of those early shots he made. So Brandon, good job, being a little bit more passing out and also finding your offense in it also. 35 minutes for Brandon, 21 points, 7-17 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 6 of 6, 6 of 8 at the free throw. 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, and a -14. I mean, it's tough. Brandon has to be out there because he's one of our best players, and he's going to draw so much attention, and there's a lot of benefits to him. But we still got to get him to figure out exactly the most effective and efficient role for him in our offense as the number one priority scorer and also as the number one threat. But there's a way to do this. Some of it is like every great superstar. You go through this different periods of when they double and they don't double, when they're respecting you and they don't respect you. And, Jokic is such a master himself, Nikola, that he understands when to go either one on any given play. Like, oh, they're coming to do this. Well, it's an assist from my teammate. That's why he gets triple doubles like crazy. Well, just like Giannis, just like LeBron, just like Kobe, just like Nikola. Brandon's got to find that balance between passing and getting to other people and calling his own number. And like certain games, certain matchups, you'll have to read early and say, well, they're really covering me up good, and it's time for me to be a passer more this game. So I know he knows all this. I'm not saying anything he doesn't know. I'm just explaining that this is something that we've got to work out a little bit better. Now, I think that with RJ, if he's coming back, when he's coming back, that will be very helpful to kind of fix this all up really fast. So, yeah, honorable mention to Brandon. Jacoby Walter, I don't know. I mean, I know he's starting for defensive purposes, but man, Jacoby, if you're going to get starters minutes, I need you to get double-digit scoring. I'm sorry. You got to be more aggressive and be more effective. 18 minutes for Jacoby, 3 points on a 3 that he made. He's 1 of 5 overall, 1 of 4 from 3, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, and 1 steal, a -4. Off the bench, Sandro Mamu can get an honorable mention from me like Brandon. 6 points in 19 minutes on 3 of 4 shooting. He missed his only 3 and has missed his only free throws. 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, and 1 block, a +2, though. Ochai Agbaji, very solid. People are saying good things about Ochai after the game, playing tough defense and doing good things, even if it's not showing up on the box score exactly right. 12 minutes for him, 2 points, 1 of 5 from the field also. 0 of 2 from 3, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 turnovers, and 1 steal, -6. And then Shed was weird too. He didn't shoot very well. And this was talked about with the press and Darko last night. But he got 5 steals in the first half of the game, which was crazy. He was absolutely a game changer. in helping us come back and take the lead over the Trailblazers because he came out there and he just stole the ball a bunch, which is fantastic. Only 3 points for Shed, 1 of 8 shooting. He made a free throw, 5 assists, 1 turnover, 5 steals, a +8. Yeah, in some ways, those guys are not shooting well. Those 3 guys, Jacoby, Oshai, and Jamal, the last couple games. But Jamal definitely contributed to the win with his steals. Definitely did. Yeah, that's the box score for the Raptors right there. Yeah, and looking on the other side, let's give some flowers to I don't want to even give him to Denny. I think Denny was garbage. He missed so many free throws, and he's so overhyped. I mean, he has a lot of stats from last night, but somebody's going to have to get stats on the Trailblazers. And if they think this guy's an all-star, they're crazy. This dude has no business being on the all-star team. I'm going to say that right now. Tamari Kamara, to me, was better as far as 7 of 12 from the field, 6 of 10 from 3, a +14 with 21 points. He was their best player, honestly. Good to see Robert Williams III out there again. He is very dangerous. And then Shaedon Sharpe was showing off for his family last night. As far as like 9 of 18, 23 points in 30 minutes. He was pretty good too, our Team Canada guy. So, yeah. All right, let me get back into the chat and see what you guys are saying here. Let's see. Trevor's saying Raptors take too long to set up Ingram for him to get going. What do you mean? They take too long to try and get him the ball? I don't know. In some ways, we're going to figure this out with Brandon. Like I was just saying, there's a balance to what he needs to be doing with his offense and his decisions, and he's still trying to strike that balance. I think it's not exactly completely right, but he'll get it. He's going to figure it out. He's a veteran. He's a very smart guy. He's a basketball junkie, and he loves these kind of problems. And in some ways, he's going to figure it out. I have a lot of confidence. I saw him moving very spryly last night. There was a moment where Brandon had to leave the game for a little while. It was a little scary, but alas, he returned and he was fine. But yeah, people hold their breath a little bit when those kind of things happen. That's for sure. Trevor's saying Celtics come back and win and beat the Knicks. Jaylen Brown dropped 40 and the Raptors back in second place. Yeah, we're number 1 in the Atlantic Division once again. The Knicks fan who came in on Sunday and said, we're going to overtake you in the Atlantic Division and be there for the rest of the year above you. That's not right, because we're above you again today. And in some ways, we can thank the Celtics for that. Yeah, I watched the last 5 minutes of that game because it was on Peacock, and I was able to see it on the hotel TV here. And I was rooting for the Celtics. It was one of those few moments where I would root for the Celtics to beat the Knicks, to help us be back on top there in the top of the Atlantic Division above the Knicks. But alas, the NBA power rankings have come out this morning, and because the Knicks beat us on Sunday, they've dropped us 3 spots to number 10 in the power rankings. We were 7th in the power rankings last week. It says the Raptors have hit a rough patch following a 9-game winning streak. They needed a last-second jumper from Brandon Ingram to beat Indiana, then dropped both ends of a back-to-back in Charlotte and New York this weekend. Toronto is feeling the loss of R.J. Barrett, who injured his right knee before Thanksgiving. Barrett doesn't lead the Raptors in any major statistical categories, but in his all-round production has been crucial. Yeah, why do you always throw a little bit of shade in there, Zach Cram? You cram in a little bit of shade. It's totally not necessary. The teams that benefited from us losing and us dropping were Orlando. They jumped up to 9th above us, which I think is bullshit, seeing as their record is worse than ours. Also, the Spurs jumped up from 12th to 8th, and that's a little bit more palatable. And the Heat jumped up 1 spot into our old spot from 8 to 9. Their record's very similar to ours. I don't have a problem with that. The Lakers fell from 5th to 6th, and then they jumped the Knicks way up from 9th to 5th after they beat us. So it's kind of like, oh, well, you beat the 7th-ranked Raptors. You get to go all the way to 5th, New York Knicks, even though your record is worse than the Raptors, worse than the Heat, and even though you get to jump all the way up there. So we're currently ranked number 10 in the ESPN Power Rankings as of this morning. Yeah, it's kind of bullshit. It's kind of bullshit, honestly. I was watching the game with the Celtics and the Knicks last night. I'm looking for Chris Boucher. That man, when he's not feeling right, he'll sit all the way at the end of the bench. We know that. And he'll hide at the end of the bench, and he'll just chill there. I didn't see him at all last night, hanging around the team or anything. It's kind of crazy, man. I feel so bad for Chris right now. But like I said to Raptors fans last year, nothing's guaranteed. And, the Raptors are not treating him badly. Trust me, he could be treated worse. And, well, he's found that in Boston. because that man is DMPing left and right, and they aren't even telling him why anymore. That's what he's saying in his Instagram. I can read what he's saying. He's saying when the silence speaks for itself is what he's saying right now. That's crazy. All right, let's keep going. Super Fan Mo in the house. She was in the house last night for the game last night, and she brought those good vibes. And, well, we got that victory. Once again, Monique, thank you for going to the game. And I'm very happy to hear that you will be going to the in-season tournament knockout game next week against the Knicks, because we need your vibes. We need your energy to help the Raptors get a very important win next Tuesday in the in-season tournament. That's right. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. This win wasn't pretty. A nail biter. Congratulations, Scottie. I don't mind these close games. I really don't, because they're worthwhile. In some ways, when we get routes all the time, it's kind of like we can get lackadaisical or lazy or complacent. When you play in very active clutch games where the margin is very dubious and scary, this gives the team so much practice in high intensity, high pressure situations. So I love these close games. If it's a nail biter, count me in. I want to watch. I used to like routes because it's fun, but the team's so capable and fun right now, and we have good weapons and clutch weapons that when we get in close games, it's fun to watch because I'm believing in them. And their record in clutch games this season shows that I should. So, I love it because this is be better for us at the end of the year because we're getting these tests, we're getting this practice, and these young players are seeing like these tough, high pressure situations and how to deal with the referees and the whistle and the foul and maybe even the manipulation that's going on. This is all very, very good practice for the playoffs and very important games later this year. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Nail biters. Bring them. Bring them. Just as long as we win it at the end. That's right. Monique is saying congratulations to Scottie because we found out yesterday that Scottie has been named the NBA Defensive Player of the Month for the month of November. He had the most stocks in the NBA last month, tied with one other person. And, well, that's a badass award. No Raptors ever won Defensive Player of the Month. It's a new award that they started last season. Well, Scottie's the first ever Toronto Raptor Defensive Player of the Month. Kudos to you, sir. And I'll bet you this, if you win Defensive Player of the Month during the season, you're very likely to be all defensive team at the end of the year, whether it's first, second, or whatever team. I think Scottie has got a good chance to be at least all defensive team this year. If not Defensive Player of the Year, who knows? Who knows? We'll have to see. Most saying this, Teresa Resch was at the game last night. She managed to find me and got me some Tempo gear. That's fantastic. See, this is like Monique is that connected. She knows people like this. She's got the president of the Tempo bringing her apparel for the team. That's fantastic. I love that. Teresa Resch has an amazing interview out yesterday with Richard Deitch of The Athletic. And it's about 40 minutes. And she answers a lot of very important questions on there and stuff that I didn't even realize. And that she doesn't have any idea when the schedule is going to be or what's going to happen. She's also still not totally clear on the expansion draft or the draft for college. She talks about that with him. She did mention in the interview that there will be Tempo games played at Scotiabank Arena this season, that they will have a few of their home games in the big arena at Scotiabank. So Tempo will play there, guys. She was talking about how the concessions will be run by MLSE because they own the Coca-Cola Coliseum. And in some ways, they're not sure if the menu is going to be the same as the Scepters or the Marlies who play in that building also. She talked about the mascot. She talked about the jerseys. She said that the jerseys are kind of like their process, and they've kind of been going back and forth on what they should be. And they haven't been totally figured out yet, the Tempo jerseys, which was really interesting. What else did she say? She had a lot of interesting things to say. They revealed the DJ for the Toronto Tempo yesterday. She's a young lady from Toronto that is Trinidadian and Pakistani. And she's very interesting. She's known in the DJ community. Trevor J knows who she is before this. And she's got a very interesting, eclectic mix of music that she likes to play. She likes soca, she likes house, she likes hip hop. She's got quite a mix of stuff. And like I said, she's known in the DJ circles around Toronto as a great party DJ. And Trevor said that she has a really good group of girls that work with her. I don't know. Maybe Trevor's done hair with these people. Maybe that's why he knows who these people are, or something like that. But Trevor's in the know, and he knows the DJ for the Toronto Tempo that they just announced. They showed a little clip on YouTube yesterday about the tempo of the team, and they've put focus on this individual. So yeah, it's kind of cool. She seems like a very cool person. And well, stuff is starting to come together with the tempo. Another thing that Teresa said in the interview yesterday is they only expect to have like 55 employees for the tempo this season. I'm like, whoa, hold up. Seriously, that's it? Just 55 employees? How do you do that? I mean, I guess she's not counting the concessions and the security and the everybody else that's involved in the whole organization, like just solely straight up tempo employees. So does that mean that you're using the MLSE staff to do everything at Coca-Cola? I'm wondering about that. Either way, it's a fantastic interview with Teresa and Richard, and I highly recommend y'all listen to it. So check it out. It's out as of yesterday, and it's the most current information about the Toronto Tempo and what they're doing straight out of Teresa's mouth. So you can hear exactly what's going on with her. That's right. That's awesome. You saw Teresa last night. Superfan Most saying, to me, we were too stagnant in the fourth, in my opinion. No RJ mistakes, etc. You know, the other thing is, like, let's not always put the focus on us when this stuff's happening. Let's give more credit to other teams. I mean, everybody in Raptors Nation's always thinking like, oh, we did so bad. What if the other team just did really, really good at that time? And that's part of the reason why these things happen, where the team comes back. I mean, these teams aren't trying to mess around with their lives and waste their time, you know, and Tiago Splitter's probably like, yeah, this is when we need to go. And these guys are going. And if the Raptors aren't totally at the same level to try and combat that, well, a run can be had by the Trailblazers all of a sudden and gets the game more closer. So I feel like people sometimes are, it's not even, I'm not saying you're doing this, Mo, but I've seen it on Reddit a lot recently where people will put down the Raptors for something that really in some ways you should be honoring and respecting the other team for their accomplishment instead. Because these teams are good. This whole league is good. And teams aren't trying to waste their time and lose games. And if it's crunch time and it's the last quarter of the game, these motherfuckers are trying to win. And they will close gaps and try and come back and win. So we have to understand that whole thing, you know, that's part of it right there. That's part of it. Trevor Jay's saying that great legends were sitting at courtside last night. Charles Oakley and Antonio Davis were at the game last night. I love to hear that, man. Those two guys in particular were a real tag team of forwards for the Raptors back then. Man, these guys were awesome. Those personalities are awesome. And I love that finally, you know, in some ways we're clearing up the air with Antonio Davis more and more recently as far as his comments on the metric system and everything like that. And, you know, I don't want to have anything issues with one of our all-stars in our history. And I don't anymore. I've laid this to rest. If there was any kind of weirdness with Antonio Davis in the past about weird, dumb stuff, I'm done with it. Antonio, you're good with the Raptors freak. And in some ways, whatever misunderstanding about an interview on Jim Rome is burning that happened so long ago, we forget about it. Who cares? And in some ways, I think it was just something set out of context that just didn't, it went out into a mountain, a molehill. I think that's what it is. So respect Antonio Davis, great Raptor legend and all-star. And of course, Oak's always been good with us. Always been good with us. We love the Oak man. That's right. That's right. That's right. Good to see the Oak man and Antonio Davis. That's right. Isaac saying this. W to you and your Wednesday day. There you go. W to everybody out there. Thank you, benevolent one, being so kind to give W's to everybody on this day. Big W's in the chat for Isaac Campbell, Scottie Barnes, Monique Lawrence, and myself. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Superfan Mo saying this. I don't normally look at the standings this early, but we good. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, the standings are just, they're so in flux. And like a lot of people are saying, the teams where they are in the standings, well, it could shift around, but I don't want us to shift around. I want us to stay right near where we are right now. And I love it. I love being at the top of the East. I felt like we would be. And well, I feel bona fide in thinking that it is happening. So it's really awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's right. Bryce is here. Good to see Bryce Lawson, stateside in the great bluegrass state of Kentucky. Good morning, Bryce. How are you this morning? Is it so crazy that we might be witnessing one of the fastest rebuilds in history? I mean, I don't even know how to gauge this and how to do this. I mean, and I don't know if they could really time this. I don't know how you actually kind of measure this. In some ways, it's like that's why I never liked the word rebuild, because I don't feel like what the Raptors totally did was rebuild, because we had Scott in the middle of the last group and he kind of transferred into this. And a lot of the stuff that Scottie learned from the other times with Fred and all them is matters to this now. I don't know. Could you call it a rebuild? Could we say that the rebuild started 5 years ago when we drafted Scott? Or is it 2 years because we hired Darko? I mean, there's no real weird. It's weird. How do you delineate when the rebuild starts and all that? You know, I just, that's why I don't like saying, putting times on rebuilds or saying this was fast or something like that. I don't know. This process may have started after we won the last championship. You know, the rebuild started in 2019, right after Kawhi left. When do you actually determine when the rebuild starts, Bryce? That's what I'm wondering. There's no science to this. And that's why I can't say if this is the fastest rebuild or not. It's a very conceptual idea, you know? Good to see you, Bryce. Criscom's here. The great Criscom, one of our great predictors, our prognosticators. And what is he saying this morning? I want to see the Raps dominate LeBron and the Lakers. Going to be fun. Are the LeBron and the Lakers actually as good as everybody says they are? I mean, their record is badass. They are high on the power rankings that I just looked at. And they are propped up, I'll bet, by their schedule and things that they've had so far this year. Are they really that good? I've heard some murmurs that this is a house of cards and they're not as good as everybody thinks they are. And they just need to be tested in certain ways. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But yeah, we'll get to see them in person. And this could be the last time LeBron James comes to Toronto as an NBA player. So this is going to be a hot ticket on Thursday night, Scotiabank Arena. Luka and LeBron coming to Toronto to play the Raptors. And yeah, I want to kick their ass too, Chris, for sure. I want to kick the Lakers' ass. That's right. Paul B's checking in from another state down south, the great state of Wisconsin. Cheese, baby. Cheese, baby. Cheese and brats. Let's go, Wisconsin. Paul B. That's right. That game made me stressed. But Scottie Barnes is the man. Beautiful left-handed dunk that would make the list for this year so far. That's right. Paul B, a couple of years ago, did dunks of the year, and he would compile the list when he was working at a TV station. And he had a different career at that time. And he was awesome. In fact, you could see that collaboration Paul and I did in our collaboration playlist on this channel, that he could put all these dunks together. And he said that left-handed jam by Scott last night was nasty. I love that he did with the left hand. And that's something he's probably very proud of. I'm going to tell you right now, just from hanging around with him on Twitch and getting to know his personality. And when he would review highlights with us on there, he would always make a big deal out of changing hands or doing it with your non-dominant hand. So I know for a fact that Scottie personally is really proud of that left-handed dunk, because it was with power. It was in somebody's face, and it was not his normal dunking hand. And that's pretty cool to him. He likes that. So Paul B, for sure, rack it up, Paul, and put it on there. Yeah, I'm totally with that. That dunk is one of the best dunks this year, for sure. For sure. Criscom's saying this: Lakers are overachieving, but I guess we can say the same for the Raptors. I don't know if we're overachieving, Criscom. I don't know if we're overachieving. I don't know. How do you say that? How do you say that? Once again, it's like, well, we'll just see as the season goes on who's pretending, who's contending. So some people are going to be pretending, and some people are going to be contending, and we're going to be contending. That's what I think. Yeah. As he's saying this, Scottie is on track to become Defensive Player of the Year, but for now, we'll take Defensive Player of the Month or the Nunth. What is that? The end. You meant to put an M in there, didn't you? You misspelled it. That's fine, Isaac. I know what you mean. DPOM. DPOM. Yeah. What pop, Raptor Freak? Seymour Pape in the house. Seymour, we can try again if you want to do fourth quarters. The phone worked this morning when Adriana called me. She actually could call me. All right, he's doing it. He's doing it. He was waiting. Let's see. All right, let's see what happens here. All right, come on. All right. Hello, caller. You're on the air on the Raptor Freak Show.
Well, pop gang.
Yay! We can hear him. Woo!
So I'm saying, doesn't the wind taste nice?
Wind does taste nice, but the wind outside does not. It's freezing.
Yeah, Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy over here too, man. Trust me.
All right, let me crank you up.
Yo, I got a few things to run by you here.
Okay, let's go. 4 quarters. Number 1.
I didn't get to chop it up with you with that Knicks game, right?
Yeah. All right, we can backtrack.
Hopefully that was more of like a poker move for us. Like we just showed them a bluff hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And another thing too is the level of confidence of play. We seen it last night and in that Knicks game. If you look at the series between Brandon Ingram and just Mikal Bridges, because you said that Bridges locked them up, that game was really a I think that goes back to the days of when Bridges was in Phoenix.
Yes.
Brandon was in New Orleans.
Yes.
Right. And right now, last night, Portland was another one of those matches. Portland has dominated
Western.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Right. Dominated the Pelicans. So they came in with the confidence thinking, this is Brandon from the Pelicans. We know how, but Brandon has a different role cast now. He got us.
Right.
He got the Raptors, right? So it was a different thing. And we seen last night. Another thing, too, is like the first 6 games when we went, like, I think it was 1-5 to start the season.
1-4.
Was just early season rust.
Yeah.
The legs weren't going. Now we're seeing that a lot of teams are shooting the ball really well. Actually, every team in the league is actually shooting the ball really well. Portland, Charlotte, everybody's shooting the ball at a high clip now because the motor's going now. The engine's is warmed up, right? Yeah. And we're a dangerous team. We're missing RJ because we have a whole bunch of shooters. I like what Grady can do. He can switch it up, shoot, take it to the rim. Scottie has all 3 packages. He can shoot, he can mid-range shoot, he can go to the rim. But RJ has that dominant get the ball cut to the rim, and we're missing that. Yeah. Right? You notice Jacoby, when he gets, he's catching and shooting. Everyone's catching and shooting. Only people that are attacking the rim from the outside is Scottie and RJ. But RJ does right to the rim. Everybody else comes in and does a mid-range jump shot. So we're sort of missing that.
You're throwing so much at me all of a sudden. I just want to go a couple points back. You know what I was thinking last night? They should have started Oshai instead of Jacoby. And the reason why is because of his years in Utah, because you're talking about like Western stuff. So in some ways, like there's a philosophy of like Abaji should know Portland better than most players on our team because he played in the Western Conference, right? I was thinking that earlier, and I think that was a good point about the stuff with Brandon as far as Mikal Bridges, Phoenix, and then also Portland last night. I think those were excellent points. I think that the start, what you were talking about with how he didn't start well, mainly that was because of Pirtle and his back not being out, and playing against the huge teams that we had to play the first week of the season was not good to not have Pirtle against Wembanyama and Houston and stuff like, and Anthony Davis on Dallas, So yeah, but I like what you're saying too. You say that the teams are starting to hit their stride and more teams are shooting well right now. It's true. There's a lot of teams shooting well, and the league is the best league in the world, so they better have good shooters, right?
When you hear people saying, we barely beat Portland, come on, people. These guys are getting paid millions of dollars to play the sport. You can't take any night off. Literally from the bottom to the top. Guys like Bradley Beal, look at his body. He can't even stay in the league with his body because it's a running gun league now. It's a running gun league. You got to be in shape.
People got to remember the Trailblazers was the only team that beat the Thunder. So,
yeah, come on.
All right, let's do second quarter.
I'm a little concerned with the bad traits that Brandon Ingram might have brought from the Pelicans. Closing out, because I seen some Pelican fans were calling out Zion, and now Zion, I think he's out. He's going to miss.
Yeah, abductor. He's been abducted again.
Yeah, it's crazy, But I seen they were complaining it was a last-second shot in one of their games, and Zion he didn't close out at all. He didn't even run out, no hands up, no nothing. Guy buried the shot, and they lost the game. Yeah. And I seen that with Brandon Ingram, and I'm like, damn, dude, you got to put your hands up on those closeouts. Yeah. Even if you're not going to push out the whole way, put your hands up at least clap.
You're talking about the Knipple shot against Charlotte the other night. Yeah. That's what I think you're exactly right. I think that in some ways, like, look, Brandon's been on our team for like 20 games now, and we're trying to make him into a Raptor. A Raptor, meaning this is how we play defense as a Raptor. And he's totally bought it and he wants to do it. But I'm sure that there's times where it kind of you slide into old habits and maybe you're not totally thinking or staying concentrated in the game, and all of a sudden maybe he goes back to Pelicans kind of like lackadaisical. Because I worry about this, because we know when Brandon came in, he said, look, I'm glad to be on a team where guys care, guys listen to their coach, and guys are trying. And it's real easy, like, after years and years in New Orleans, I'm sure at some points he can get complacent, like we're saying, and we see it at times like this. So it's really, he's got to be dedicated to a new mindset on a new team and really taking that responsibility and honoring it. So
we're not going to nitpick him because he played well last night. He's not in my top 2 stars. We needed him, everything he brought.
Yeah.
But do you have the box score there?
Yeah, I can do that. Oh.
Who was he matched up against? We need to.
I can't tell that exactly from the box score and I didn't watch the game. If I'd watched the game, I could tell you straight up, but I have no idea. You guys that watched the game could probably.
Kamara. I think he was paired up against Kamara the whole game. If it wasn't Kamara, it was Kamara. And Kamara had a lot of open shots.
At the beginning.
He had a lot of open shots. And I get it. Brandon was helping a lot. When people were cutting and he coming in, Brandon was helping. But it's like, I seen a lot of times his man was wide open for a shot. And I'm like, whoa, dude, you got to really get engaged on the defensive end. But still, we got the win. We're not nitpicking. Let's keep it moving. Let's get the wins. Keep going. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think that the pluses of Brandon are way better than the minuses. And if we're nitpicking right now a little bit, that's just because we want to see some of that stuff improve a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, we want the best in our guys. For sure.
Yeah, we love Brandon, and we're really happy he's on our team. And we are happy to be more talented and more powerful with his presence on our team, for sure.
Yeah, we win the win without him.
Yeah. All right, you got a third one?
Yeah. So I got a question. You know how for the last 5-6 years we've been on? I would say we're ahead of schedule based on where we thought this team would be right now. Nobody right now could. Some people might say, you know what? I knew we would be sitting at the position we're in right now. Okay, sure. You're a stew of the game. But majority of the fans out there are looking at like, damn, okay, we were just in rebuild mode a couple seasons ago. The addition of Brandon was sort of, is this going to work? This might not work. Nobody knew if it was going to work or not, at least to the level that it has right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So do you think that we have too many guys that are on this team right now that need the touches to develop? I'm talking about like CMB, Grady. A lot of these guys are still in development mode, right? And then you have, remember, Scott, the more that Scottie gets the ball, he gets better. We see it. He's been the focal point for the last couple seasons. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that we have too many young guys that still are in that development mode? Because right now
we're a young team, like a lot of young teams. And I mean, you could put it that way with that, but I think it's just like, teams are skewing younger in the league overall, unless they're in California, apparently. And as far as that's what we're doing right now is we've got a crop of young guys. We're playing them and giving them chances. We're seeing who takes those brass rings and really goes, and we're figuring out who we're going to invest in going in the future. And we can't invest in all of them. And in some ways, we're going to have to pick which ones we want to, but we want to have the choice from within by having a lot of choices. So in some ways, I get what you're saying. There's going to be some tough decisions at some point. Now, is there enough to feed everybody in different ways? Probably not.
Because I look at Grady. I love what I seen from Grady last night. I seen in the comments that people see, we need more of it. We need consistency.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Grady got touches last night.
Yeah.
And we can see what he could do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where I just see him running with the pace of the game, and it just looks like he's just getting run.
Yeah.
Because he's getting the touches, right? So that's what I'm sort of alluding to.
That was one of my criticisms in the last game is Grady can't do nothing if he's not getting the ball. And right. I like that they focused on getting him the ball this time. And then the first basket he made was an assist from Sandro, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's not even certain players have got to just try and initiate things to get him going. Because once you get a little bit of confidence for Grady, he's that kind of player that can get a snowball rolling, and then all of a sudden it's an avalanche. So we really, really I said, I want Shed and IQ and Scottie and Brandon and Jakob and RJ when he comes back to look for Grady. And in some ways, just like you want to find Jamison when he's absolutely wide open, you want to do the same thing with Grady, because when he hits that first three, that can be a huge, huge offensive boost for your game for the rest of the night because he's feeling good. Now, the other thing I want to mention, though, with Grady is he on certain nights is not going to be effective and able to play because of the matchup. And some nights he will be able to play like last night because the matchup's a little more conducive to his skill set. And I think that's maybe the difference in some of these games where it's like we don't see nothing from Grady, was because it's a locked up, tight game like the New York Knicks. And it's harder for him to get going because these guys are gritty and they're all up in his face. So, you know. All right, you want to do a fourth quarter?
Shit, I'm just dropping my top three of the game. For me, it's Scotties. Got to put the Scotties on it.
Mm-hmm. Scotties. I really want him to get that dog. I want him to get a third dog now and get the Scotties dog to be with his entourage. Now, I feel like, and he should just name the dog Scotties and just go full in with this tissue company. And if he's walking the dog outside, people will say, yeah, Scotties, and Scotty. It's the Scotties. And I feel like I need a tissue now.
Scotties,
yeah,
IQ, and I'm going with Grady.
Grady, yeah, those are my top three too. I felt like those three guys, from what I could see in the highlights and the box score, seemed like the most important guys last night. Yeah. All right, man. Overtime, or do you want to get out of here, man?
I'm gonna run.
All right, man. Be safe at Calgary in the warehouse, and we always love to hear from the city slicker, the sheriff, Seymour. Yeah, let's go, Raptors. That's right. All right, cool. Seymour got through this time, and we got a little backtrack on New York stuff since we didn't get him last week, which was too bad. All right, let's see. Yeah, Mo Stokes, she's going to be going to that in-season tournament game next week. That's fantastic. I'm thinking about going to the Celtics game on Sunday, since it's a 3:30 afternoon start on Sunday afternoon. It's kind of conducive for me being way out of the city to get down there, go to the game, and still get back at a decent time. So I'm thinking about going with my dad, going to the Celtics game on Sunday. It'd be fun to take Dad to a game and get that in-arena experience with him. So I might be at Celtics on Sunday. So what I'm looking at. But I'm glad you're going on Tuesday, Mo. That's a really important game. Bryce is saying, is BI okay? I think so. I mean, I saw at the end of the game he got back out there, and he seemed like he was moving fine. You know, they're going to take precaution. They probably did a little bit of preliminary checking when he did go back to the back at that point. But yeah, he returned the game. He didn't seem like he was laboring with his movement or having any problems. So that's a good sign. Shaq Lindsay, member of the channel's here. It's good to see him. I heard Toronto is going after Keon Ellis. Just letting you know, I'm not talking trades, but the idea of having him on the team would be a great fit. Isn't he like a guard or a forward? I don't know. I feel like we're so full. I would question the source, and I would be like, okay, what is this? Because once again, there's no hearing Toronto doing nothing, because this isn't a real thing, Shaq Lindsay. Bobby Webster does not have loose lips in any kind of way around this team. And every single time there's a trade rumor, it's absolutely usually false. Just so you know, I would never believe anything somebody says as they say, I heard Toronto is going after Keon Ellis. I won't believe this, because we don't tell anybody what we're doing. And we don't talk about this. Now, maybe if they talk to somebody in the front office of the Kings and say, oh, Toronto just called, they're asking about Keon Ellis, maybe that's how it happens. But for the most part, I never, ever believe any of this stuff, because sometimes it's an agent like Rich Paul floating stuff around for a client just to help them in their transaction with their leverage. And they're using Masai in Toronto as some sort of chip to, bargain with. So even if you heard this, I'd question the source. I'd even question if this is actually real, because Bobby doesn't tell nobody nothing. That's right. Mo's saying this, definitely in a mini slump in reference to BI. I don't know if I'd call it a slump. You know what it is? It's like there's a level of just like static, like play, and then there's really good play. And Brandon had really good play recently where he was absolutely above and beyond. He was shooting like 60%, and he was hitting clutch shots, and everything was working for him perfect. And we've run into a couple of games now where the other teams have had very good defensive schemes to try and slow down Brandon, a lot of doubling and a lot of different things like that. And it's hard for him to get his production in these situations, and also his efficiency goes down. And all of a sudden, instead of shooting 50% or better, now he's shooting 30%. But he still got 20 points last night, and he really helped us keep going with the scoring. I mean, we had 65 points by halftime last night, which is fantastic for a first half scoring. And Brandon's part of putting that input in there. I mean, the 14 points this weekend in one of the games, sure, maybe that was a little bit of a slump because that's not the normal output for him. But we've got to realize that this is kind of the range where he's going to bounce around in. And in some ways, we're going to kind of have to see, is he going to be a high volume and efficient shooter? That's very rare and tough to do. And he has done it recently. But is it going to be some nights he's going to be high volume and not as efficient, but he gets 20 points for us like last night? Or will it be he's in smaller doses, but he's super efficient and he gets like 20 points on very few shots? You know, there's a couple of different ways they can go with this. I wouldn't even call it a mini slump. I just that defenses are adjusting to him and they're getting better outcomes at slowing him down. Is what it is. Seymour saying this: Scottie's IQ and Dick, my top three performers. Tough win. Portland brought it and got stumped. Salute Shaden's best in-game dunker. Raptors all day, baby. There you go. Seymour adding on a little bit there from what he was just saying. Nako saying this: Grady bounce back game. Scottie and IQ were amazing. Colin is a great role player. He's a great rebounder and big. And I'm excited about him cleaning the boards up for us more and more as time goes on. I want him to just rebound like crazy. This team just needs a nasty, really good rebounder. And if he just does that all the time, man, he'd be one of my favorite players. You know, all the other stuff is great, hitting threes, you know, some of the offensive stuff he does, but the rebounding is really the huge thing, the meat and potatoes that I want from Murray Boyles. Shaq Lindsay saying this: I don't want to hear any slander on our starting five. BI can be in a slump and the other three starters pick up. Can't wait until RJ comes back. Yeah, and I wouldn't even call it a slump. I mean, he'd missed a bunch of shots at the beginning of one of the games recently where he went 0 for 5 right away. That's kind of a slump within a game. Like in the first quarter, he had a slump. But then later on, he kind of woke up and made some points later and helped to try and come back, but they didn't win. I think that's in the Charlotte game. He was 0 for 5 to start the Charlotte game. But then in the second half, he started making some shots late when we were trying to win the game. Alas, like Scottie said, after the game last night, he felt like that Charlotte game they shouldn't have lost. And they let one go on that one. Yeah, they did. That's the game they absolutely shouldn't have lost. That game in Charlotte last Saturday is one we're going to point to for the rest of the year. That one and the home opener against Milwaukee. Those are the two games so far this year. I'm like, the Raptors should not have lost those. And the Dallas game, too. I'm going to say they shouldn't have lost that Dallas game at the beginning of the year, too. Yeah, those three right there. Kaz is here. Good morning, everyone. Denny Avija foul baiting and crying every play was so cringe, man. Yeah, and he'd get up to the line and he missed free throws left and right. It was hilarious. I mean, I didn't even see it. I could see it on the box screen. I was like, oh, he missed another free throw. That's funny, man. I like that. Most saying this: stars of the game, Scottie, IQ, and Grady. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty good. Solid start. Stars of the game. Sorry, I'm really, I feel sicker than the last 2 days today right now. It's crazy. Trevor's saying this: fans are like the conservatives. They ask for things, and when they get it, they get mad. Yeah, no, listen, conservatives are just mad in general. They won a bunch of elections. They bought them. They cheated and did all this stuff, and they're still angry people. It's not like they're not even trying to work towards anything good or anything. They don't have any solutions. They only have problems. And they only want racism and all kinds of subjugation of people. They're just miserable, cruel people. Honestly, if you really identify yourself with the right-wing movements or right now, you're a sadist. You're a cruel-ass motherfucker. And you're a piece of shit, is what I'll say right now. All right, I don't know why you bring that up, man. You're going to make me talk about that. Seymour saying this: facts, champ. His push and calling for all-star status is getting to his head. Too much crying. Yeah. You're talking about Denny? Yeah, I don't know, man. Either way, that guy, I don't think he's an all-star. If the Portland Trailblazers are a shitty team, that guy does not deserve to be on the all-star team. I'm sorry. If they do put him on there, there's some sort of favoritism for some bullshit, maybe because of where he's from. That may be why. That may be why. All right, let's keep going. Where am I? Okay, hang on. Shaq Lindsay saying good game from Grady, but consistency is the key. Let's make it 2 in a row. We'll just have to see. In some ways, the consistency that Darko wants from him is on the other end of the floor, and it's not necessarily the offensive stuff right now. But if he can get the offensive stuff going, that's fantastic. Nako's saying, I thought Grady had some good defense that game. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that Grady has to get better on that end of the floor. And he's showing signs and he's making a lot of progress on that end of the floor. But the average Raptors fan is not going to see that or understand that. And they're only going to think, oh, what about Grady last year, who's shooting a lot of threes and getting 20 to 25 points a game? This is a different year and a different assignment for Grady. And we're winning more this year than with Grady being a starter and getting like 20 points a game. So it's like you can't have all of this, Raptors fans. We've got to have a winning formula for the cake. And in this formula this year, the recipe calls for Grady Dick to do it this way. And we're winning way more. That formula last year called for him to do that, but that wasn't a winning formula. So can we understand this, Raptors fans, that that's the difference? That's the difference. And just go easy on Grady and allow him to grow his defensive side of his game. Let's see. Kareem Thomas is saying this. Jamal Shed, baby. He came in and changed the course of this game. And yes, only 3 points and 5 assists. What a great player to have on the court. Yeah, you want players that can make an impact without having to score. And Shed definitely did that last night because, he wasn't making shots. In some ways, he can get blocked to the basket a bunch. But he's stealing the ball. And the other thing that Shed's doing is he's causing turnovers for them by drawing fouls too. Didn't he get a charge on Avdia near the end of the game, right? He got a charge on him in the crunch time and kind of got a turnover in the last 5 minutes for the Raptors because of what he does, the Davion move. That's right. That Davion move. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying Scottie and Colin are trying to build some chemistry. Yeah, we saw them working together when Colin came in the game off the bench at first. There was some dump off passes to Colin in the lane for easy. Like Scottie gets all the attention. He gets good position in the lane, and Colin's just kind of hanging around. And Scottie is able to just dump the ball to him, and all of a sudden it's a layup or a dunk. And that was a play that happened a couple times. That was part of the run that got them ahead of the Blazers when the Blazers jumped out on them in the beginning. MJ's here. Good morning to Fiercey. Morning, fam. Happy Wednesday. We're humans and care for different things, whether family, art, work, fitness, etc. Being so invested in sports personalities' performances is weird and intense. Yeah, we got to draw lines, Some people would say, well, Lex, you talk about the Raptors every single morning for 2 hours every single day. You're obsessed. Yeah, but I don't want to know the name of Scottie's kids. I didn't even know the sex of Scottie's kid. I'm not obsessed like a stalker. I'm not somebody who's going to places and trying to meet these people on their off time and doing weird stuff. No, I'm obsessed for the team and the winning and the franchise and the culture and the Raptors phenomena of the Toronto Raptors. And, but some people can blur the lines and be a little weird and stuff like that. And, you got to be a little bit like grounded as a person and kind of like, what? No, you're sketchy. That's weird. That's just weird, man. Because I've heard some people say like, I want to come to the open practice because I want to meet them all and I want to get up real close to all them. It's like, no, you can't do this. It's hard to get access to the players unless it's like an autograph session at like a Foot Locker or something like that. Or, it's tough. And in some ways, people need to just kind of keep the space and the privacy and the respect for NBA players in the public and let them live their lives is what I'm saying. G saying this, Clippers doing Chris Paul dirty. Yeah, I heard this morning that they're going to cut Chris Paul. Chris Paul recently announced this would be his last year in the NBA, and he wanted to kind of do a retirement tour, I guess. But the Clippers aren't even going to allow him this. They're just going to cut him. They're just dirty-ass people, man. I have losing respect for the Clippers organization so much this last 6 months. Before, I just felt like they were a butt of the joke when I was a kid watching poor Elgin Baylor run that team in the 80s and all the stupid things that were happening with the Clippers. They were a real butt of the joke. Everybody would say, well, at least we're not the Clippers. Ha, 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 yeah, because they really went through some bad times. And, well, in some ways, I guess this is just the new form of it. It feels like in the last 20 years, the Clippers have had interesting teams, and Chris Paul was on one of those original Clippers teams with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan that was kind of successful and starting to get things going. But alas, it's all fool's gold. Every single thing in the Clippers history as a franchise has been fool's gold, whether it's just been the futility and the sadness of the 80s, the 90s into the 2000s. And then all of a sudden they get a nucleus with Chris Paul. And that's the crazy thing. They don't even want to honor a guy who was part of one of the most successful periods of their franchise by letting him play out the season. Maybe it's because they just need the roster spot or they need more live bodies to play. I don't know. Whatever the reasoning is, it's disrespectful. And in some ways, I'd be like, man, if I was Chris Paul, I'd be like, fuck the Clippers, man. You guys are assholes. I don't know. He is washed, though. I had him on my fantasy team at the beginning of the year, and he has really not been producing on any kind of level. So maybe he came back one too many seasons. Maybe this is why Kyle Lowry sits on the bench and barely ever plays for the Sixers. Because he's hiding that he's at the same level as Chris Paul, but Nick Nurse will guard him and say, yeah, we'll just get you in there, Cal, to keep you getting your stats. You appeared this year. You're in this season. You got this year down, but we're barely ever going to play you. And don't worry, we're not going to cut you in the middle of the season. We'll let you play your whole last year, even if you don't play hardly at all. Yeah, they did do him dirty. That's for sure. Kareem saying this, I have one problem with this team. It's closing games. They take too long to get into their sets, but that could be because they possibly want to drain the clock. Also, sometimes players become spectators when Brandon gets the ball and forgets to cut. Yeah, we want movement all the time, but we want movement organized and making sense with the spacing and the ability to help him be more successful. Yes, on that. And I think that you're right that some of the reason why they take a little longer to get in the sets is that they're doing clock management. I do think that that's part of it. Shaq Lindsay saying, I don't see that way. I think the Clippers are doing Chris Paul a favor. The Clippers are dirty and they don't want Chris to clean up their mess. Laugh out loud. So you're saying they don't want you. Listen, you don't want to be with us. Go on, little dog. Go somewhere else. No, don't follow me anymore. The hobo out by the train tracks. Don't follow me. Don't come with me. No, I'm no good. I'm a horrible person. I'm a vagrant. I'm on the train 24/7. You won't want this life, dog. No, don't come with me. No, this is something like that. It's like, we're no good for you. I don't know if it's that, man. I mean, I wouldn't see it that way. Maybe they come crashing down. They're like, no, we honor and cherish you too much, Chris. This whole team's going down in a flame because of aspiration and Kawhi and Steve Ballmer. And we just don't want you to be a part of this. You're better than this. No, I don't think that's what it is. I think that they're just assholes. And like, wow, Steve Ballmer, you're crazy, man, with your bathroom palace. That is crazy, man. Reggie's here. Good to see our trivia champion. Clippers probably have a trade lined up for Chris, seeing as they didn't waive him. That's weird. That's interesting. That could be true. Who knows? That's very interesting. I don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. All respect to the Wake Forest legend, Chris Paul. Kareem saying, fuck the Clippers. I can't believe they did that to Paul. This is why they never win a chip. In some ways, it's bad for the basketball gods. That's for sure. That's for sure. Guardian Transit's here. Good to see Guardian Transit. Scottie this year playing more like a smaller version of GA has the beast since arrived. Yeah, he's playing like Giannis. We've seen those kind of like transition Giannis drives where it's just like he's a runaway train, soul asylum, and you want to get out of the way, never coming back. Yeah, he's coming down that one-way track, and you better get out of the way. But I think that in some ways it's like, once again, I compare him to Leonard with his post shots and his like little turnarounds and stuff like that. They're so money, they're so measured, and he's so high percentage now from like 15 feet into the basket. So high percentage right now. Yeah. Yes. Most saying this game of runs. Indeed. That's right. This is what basketball is. And in some ways, some teams get a little tired. The other teams got more energy at that point. Boom. All of a sudden they're running it up. And then it goes the other way and it flips. And yeah, it's just basketball. That's how it goes. G saying this, didn't they do this to Blake too? I remember he signed a team friendlier deal to retire a Clipper and they traded him to Detroit mid-season. I could be wrong, but that's what I remember. He definitely wasn't on the Clippers when he finished. No, he was on Detroit he was around the Celtics too near the end too. So yeah, Neil's checking in. Good to see Neil. Fiercely saying Giannis. Oh yeah, GA, yeah, Giannis. A lot of speculation around Giannis again. Well, the Bucks are kind of got a losing record right now. They're 500 and they're going nowhere. Everybody who thought the Bucks had a team, I told y'all don't. You do not have a good team in Milwaukee. And by the end of the year, I said this in the summer, Giannis speculation will go more and more build up in the season. And by the end of the year, there could very well be stuff. New York fans are putting out trade machine things to get Giannis, and they're shipping out Cat and OG. They're sick of those two guys, apparently. And one of the trades I saw on Reddit with Giannis going to New York that a Knicks fan had posted, OG becomes a Spur. Which is really interesting to me. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Seymour saying, remember, wash your damn hands. Yeah, this is the time of year you get sick, like Lex. But you know what? A great thing to do too is get some food. And well, yesterday I went to Wild Wing. Wild Wing. I got my Wild Wing right here. And you guys are going to get to see me eat a Wild Wing live on the show again. I just got hot. But yeah, Wild Wing is a Canadian chain that started in Sunderland, Ontario. And their headquarters is in King City now, but they've been headquartered in Aurora also. And well, their hot wings are fantastic. And you know, they got about 108 or something locations across Canada. A lot of them in Ontario. But if you can get Wild Wing, it's good. It's Canadian Wild Wings. And let's have some. Cold, hot buffalo wing. That's good. But yeah, straight goods on Canadian goods. Wild Wing. You know it's a good show when Lex is eating something, right? I'm going to get the sauce on my face probably. Yeah, it's good. Even if it's cold. It's pretty good. Yeah, you probably have a Wild Wing in your neighborhood. And I highly recommend it. All right. What are you doing, Lex? This is not good on a stream. But it's so good. I can't stop eating it. I like to really, I don't mess around. I don't waste any of the meat. Like if there's any like little pieces of meat, I'm getting them. Even anything is edible. Breading, even if it's like the tendon, I'm eating it. I had a cousin from Trinidad. He used to eat wings with me. He'd bust the wings open and eat the marrow out of the bone. I was like, damn, he's really getting his money's worth. Getting that marrow out of there. All right, Wild Wing. All right, little commercial, little snack for Legs, just real quick. Cheers. All right, let's keep going. Shaq Lindsay saying, I love that last play we made with the pass from Shed to BI. We moved the ball instead of ISO BI. Yeah, in some ways, I'd rather him find his offense that way. You know, it's kind of like BI. Look at it this way. Either you start with the ball and maybe there's a higher percentage chance that you have to pass it off to somebody else, or we have the ball somewhere else and we're trying to get it to you and you get the score. Yeah, figure it out, Brandon. In some ways, it's like we could have the ball run for you as the hub, but if they're doubling you too tight and you're not getting the ball out of there without a turnover, I'd much rather the point guards hold the ball and y'all move around and them get the ball to you like Shed did at the end of the game. Yeah, in some ways, that's more of a winning formula to get him to play better. That's right, to play better or get better shot opportunities. Reggie's saying this, Giannis deleted all the Bucks-related content off his social media. That's what's being reported. Yeah, I saw something about that, and I'm like, I wouldn't read too much into this. You know, players do this all the time, but who knows? In some ways, it's not the right time of the year to do this because they're not going to trade him right now. In some ways, it's kind of the weird timing is what I would say. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying this. Would like to see Dick start next game if RJ's out. We're playing the Lakers. I don't know. I still say Abaji just because of what I said earlier. Ochai Abaji played for the Utah Jazz for the first couple years of his career. And he got a lot of looks at the Western teams, so he's a little bit more familiar with them. So I would say Abaji, especially since there's some offensive players on the Lakers that we need to kind of guard up really well. You know, maybe you just want an Austin Reeves, Grady Dick matchup. I don't know. Maybe that's what you want right there. That's right. Smooth saying, except for the chip stuff. So he left all the Bucks chip stuff. Okay. Kareem saying this, Oshai is really going through it. Once he turns it around, this team is unbelievably deep. He's not playing the best offensively right now. It's kind of like the first half year that he was on our team after he got traded here from Utah. He wasn't doing anything offensively, but he's doing a lot of good stuff for us defensively. And let's not get it twisted. He's contributing, and even I think it was Emmanuel who said that Oshai is doing really good for us on defense last night in his interview. He mentioned Oshai and being very happy with some of the stuff he's doing, even if he's not hitting his shot right now or going aggressively for offense. Part of it is when Oshai wants to wake up offensively, he needs to attack the rim like he has been doing, trying to get dunks and layups and transition and the baseline. And, then, hopefully he'll get confidence and the threes will start going in from the corner again, too. So let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying trading Giannis in midseason is not going to happen. Good possibility in the offseason. What if Adam Silver is feeling like, wow, ratings aren't very good in the NBA right now. I really thought Prime would really bump things up. And Peacock, what is going on? Why are the ratings down? You know what, Adam? Maybe we should do it again. You mean it? Really? Yeah. Giannis to New York at Christmas time just to shake things up. Luka too. Well, this could happen, guys. Think about this. Seriously, the NBA would love to orchestrate a big shakeup deal like this. I mean, would New York be okay with this? Because they are pretty high up in the standings and they don't really need to shake things up. And it probably would really shake their team up to acquire Antetokounmpo in New York. They'd probably have some key players leaving that team. And who knows, it could be very risky for New York to try and go for that. That's why they do it. And they probably fail because they did it. In some ways, I'm like, I dare y'all. Y'all make a big, huge trade around Christmas to get Giannis on the Knicks and trade like Cat and OG out of there. And we'll just see if you're a better team for it or not. I'd love for them to do that. Yes, the NBA did this crazy trade with Luka last year. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something weird like that again this year. And that would be the guy right there. It's kind of crazy, Shacklins. Even though you think it's not going to happen, well, we never thought Luka would get traded like that last year, did we? And it could be very much the plan because Adam Silver wants ratings, baby. Ratings. That's right. Kareem saying this. I can't believe the Nuggets let Jeremy Grant walk. Such a great talent that never interferes with team. Jeremy Grant he was on Detroit before more. I don't know if he was actually on Denver. Was he on Denver a long time ago? No, he was on Detroit. Yeah, he's a very good player. He's long and lanky, like Brandon Ingram. And he was hitting threes last night. He was actually shooting pretty good from three last night. It's very interesting. Yeah, let's see. Smooth saying it might be something to the Giannis stuff. Well, what I just said, does that make sense? That Adam Silver might want to shake up the league again in some sort of weird way. Not going to say we deserve at least 5th in the power rankings in the NBA. Well, they don't think we're a real one. That's the thing. Like some people, when they say the NBA experts are saying some teams are doing something this time of the year, but they probably won't be there at the end of the year. They think we're that team. And then in some ways they don't want to give us a ranking that may be like more right for what we are because they fully expect us to fail more and get knocked out of the top, Gerald. That's what it is. That's what they want. So they don't want to give it to us. They'll begrudgingly give it to us. Yeah, I won't disagree with you. I feel like we're a 5th in the power ranking. I love that. But they don't want to believe the truth about us, and they'll do it begrudgingly as we are successful going forward. Yeah, that's still some of that. I don't know. Let's see. Neil saying this. The offense got better. Kudos to Darko. It still needs more work. It is in the right direction. RJ being out can be a blessing only when the offense is sustainable, regardless of who plays. Once again, we're not going to be perfect all the time. Allow for ups and downs and not being completely perfect. That's what I would say on that. The offense moved way better last night. Yes. Superfan Most saying 5 steals from Jamal, definitely turning some heads. Amazing. The thing about it was he did them all in the first half. I would have liked to see him get a couple more steals. Like, what if he gotten 5 steals in the second half too? He'd have 10 steals. That would have been an awesome game. Really been good. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay said, bring back Chris. Chris with a K? That's Chris Murray? No, you mean Chris Boucher. No, there's no reason to do that. It's not going to work. And it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. If we were going to have them, we would have just kept them, right? Jimmy's saying this. Clippers showing why they're a trash organization through and through. I won't disagree with you. You go ahead and say that, Jimmy. I'll get double down on that with you. Yeah. And Neil saying 60 more games to perfect Darko's system. We're not trying to perfect anything. There's no such thing as perfection. We just want to get better and better and improve, because the whole idea of perfect, we got to stop saying that word and perfecting and stuff. That's part of the problem with these fans. They want perfect. There's nothing in the basketball world that's perfect. You can just do as best as you can and try and win in the situation that's going on the court. So let's drop the word perfect or perfect, because that's part of the problem with the Raptors nation right now. They all have this weird standard. Like, Neil, do you have some weird perfect standard for the Raptors? Fuck that. There's nothing like that. There's nothing real with this. They're going to have their ups and downs. There's going to be fuck ups and there's going to be blessings. There's going to be good things and bad. And there's nothing perfect about the NBA. I don't give a shit how good the Oklahoma City Thunder are. They're not perfect either. So we got to stop having this conceptualization of a perfect Darko team. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. And that's part of the problem with the Raptors nation right now, is they want perfect. And they think that it can be perfect. That's not a thing. You can't do that, man. You can't do that. All right, let's keep going. Trevor's saying Sky's defensive player of the month. The first is a Raptor. Yep, we went over that. Previously saying, I'm sincerely hoping RJ will be healed and ready for the knockout round. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. And we hopefully get some news about RJ. Let me go check. I can go look right now. Maybe there's some news about RJ now. Probably not. Ooh, fun fact. Kawhi Leonard has lost the last 6 games he's played in, tied for the longest personal losing streak of his career. So he's lost 6 games in a row. All right. Yeah. Anyway, there's no news on RJ right now on Blue Skies. Let's see. Smooth's brought up that somebody passed away in the last day, and that's Eldon Campbell. Yeah, we've had a couple of people pass away in the NBA family recently. Rodney Rogers passed away in the last month, partly because, he had his ATV accident a long time ago where he's riding a 4-wheeler and he had a severe neck injury that paralyzed him. And this was a long time ago. So he had been living as a paralyzed person for a long time, but he passed recently. And I saw this morning that Lakers player Eldon Campbell passed away this morning at a very, very young age too. It's sad. In some ways, when you're a bigger human being, staying healthy is really important. And it's tough, man. That's the other thing. These guys play in the NBA and they get beat up and they get all kinds of stuff. Now, the NFL is worse for setting up players for an early death with concussions and a lot of the wear and tear that go on with people in the NFL. It's absolutely, in some ways, a very bad sport for the athletes. But the basketball players can be worn down too. Now, if you're a bigger guy, like a 7-foot guy that's 250 pounds, your joints are going to be different. In some ways, your organs are going to be bigger and different. And, it's really tough. It's weird. In most species in the world, smaller individuals in species live longer. It's true. It's true. I mean, my grandmother, she's like 4 feet tall and she's 103. So it's like, if you're a bigger person, in some ways, your lifespan is shorter, is that what I found. And a lot of these outcomes too, and this is actually my area of expertise in my master's studies, is death and dying and how people die, contributions to death. And when you're bigger, in some ways, it's easier to have a shorter lifespan. And sucks. I have no idea why Eldon Campbell passed, but blessings and peace and love to the people that love him and the fans and everybody out there. I watched him, and I liked his game too. It's shocking to hear that he's passed away this morning. It's shocking. Infamous is saying this: salute freaks. This game was a huge step in our development. Usually we struggle with athletic wings. We're getting everyone's best game. The Trailblazers were a good test. They've been kind of a hot team at times this season. And, they have a lot of young players that are very athletically talented. In some ways, they're very similar to Atlanta. And, these kind of teams are dangerous. They're very dangerous teams that can beat people on any given night. So, yeah, we took care of business and we won. And that's what matters. Infamous, good to see you. Nako's saying, I say the rebuild started after we traded Pascal. Yeah, see, you could say it's whatever, and this one, and this, and this. I mean, you could say whenever it is. I mean, the rebuild could have been when we lost Mark and Serge. You could say that as soon as we lost Mark and Serge and we went into the Tampa and all that stuff, that's when the rebuild started. It's like, how do you actually time frame this? You don't. I mean, you don't. I don't know how you do it. Let's see. Bryce is saying this. I call it a rebuild because we completely turned our roster around in a 2-year span. I say we rebuilt when we traded Pascal and OG, 2 of our top 2 players. Okay, so you and Gerald are saying the same thing. So it's really like, all right, if we go by that, then we've only been rebuilding. It'll be 2 years in around New Year's. That's interesting. Okay, so you guys saying we do it in 2 years. Well, so in some ways we could say we rebuilt the team in a year and a half. Is that what you're saying? We got back to winning ways in a year and a half after the Pascal trade. All right, I'll take it, guys. I like that. All right, Bryce. So the stat is we rebuilt our team in a year and a half. I love it. I love it. I love it. We didn't have to go through all the other stuff before it to get to that point. I mean, I love it. We'll do a year and a half. That's fine. Let's see. Smooth saying Lakers are a good team, man. Not a chip level team, but but good. Is Ayton not fucking them up yet? That's the thing. I'm wondering when DeAndre Ayton's going to rear his ugly head on how he is as a team player. And that's going to totally mess up the Lakers. I don't know. Things are good there right now. I heard that little story about Ayton saying that he showed up and LeBron finally got healthy and he threw him a lob pass. And he said that, LeBron, this is the second time you've thrown me a lob pass. You threw me one like 17 years ago when I was a little kid at your camp. I thought that was a nice little touching story of DeAndre Ayton getting a lob pass from LeBron, and the 2 times he's had it. And it was like very separate times when they happened. Very interesting. Let's see. G saying, like Nako, for me, it started when OG and Pascal were traded. So this seems like a common thing that Bryce, Gerald, and Good Game are all saying that the rebuild started when we traded those 2 guys at that time. Okay. All right. I hear you. I hear you. Isaac Campbell saying, yo, Speaker's Corner is making a comeback in Toronto. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. They should have done that. I was pushing for that for a while, like 5-6 years ago. When I was doing the convenience store show, I did a show called I was doing like a Speaker's Corner kind of. That was my inspiration for doing that convenience store show kind of. And I talk about Speaker's Corner on that show all the time. And I'm kind of glad that there's a revitalization. I don't know. I heard it's like a mobile one. I wish they just put it on the corner where it was before and just do it the way it was. Although that was pretty crazy what would happen in that Speaker's Corner booth. Pretty crazy stuff would happen in there. People would be trying to have sex in there and stuff like that and put it on there. They put the tuning in and it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's not what this is for. That's too hot for Sunday nights on City TV. All right, let's keep going. Reggie's saying they're a really good team, a great test for the Raptors. We'll see. I'm not going to give them anything because I can't gauge the Lakers properly from the news and ESPN. I can't gauge it from all the overhype. I can't. I can look at their record and say, okay, that's pretty good. But once again, did the Lakers get an easy, cushy schedule to start their year so that they have an easy start? I don't know. In some ways, we'll just have to see. When we play them in person, I want to kick their ass. That's what I want to say right there. Yeah. Smith saying the rebuild for me started when Fred left that summer. When Fred left? Or Nick. When Nick and Fred left. That's what it was. The rebuild was when we got our new coach. So we've been in a rebuild for 2 years. 2 years. It's either 1.5 or 2 years so far is what I'm hearing. That's right. Let's see. G saying that. Yes, Smooth. That's a good starting point. When Fred left and Nick left, because we did try and rebuild with Dennis and Pascal at first. We did try to do that. It just didn't work. Info is saying I wouldn't call it a rebuild, more of a growth and transition. Yeah, I wanted to call it a renew or a reshuffle or something like that. I don't know, but it is true. Bryce brings up a good point that we've pretty much overhauled our whole entire roster in the last couple of years. And that is kind of a rebuild. That is a rebuild right there. It's not really a retool, I guess. Retool, rebuild. I don't know what to call it. But they traded their chip vets to go younger. So it's more of a rebuild to me. They didn't retool, keeping either OG or Pascal, regardless. Amazing work. I think you're right. I was trying to say it was a retool, I guess, when we still had them. But I guess it's the proper term is rebuild. Infamous is saying this. The Lakers, the top 2 players in the league in free throw attempts, Luka and Reeves. So we have to be careful with them and the refs. Yeah, that sounds like one of the ways they're helping the Lakers. That those two guys get all the free throws. I don't understand Austin Reeves. I can understand Luka getting a lot of free throw attempts, but I've never understood how Austin Reeves gets so many free throw attempts. Why does that man get so much respect? Well, either way, let's kick their ass. That's what I want to do. Smith saying, I take my hat off to Austin Reeves. He's better than I ever thought he would be. Anyway, I have opinions on this. I don't want to talk too much smack about him because we're going to play them next. But yeah, I have some opinions on that. Kareem saying the way we can eliminate the free throws for the Lakers is by fouling the refs. All right, I'm going to have to see who the refs are tomorrow. We'll see if that's apropos. You know, if we see Scott Foster or like Tony Brothers or something tomorrow, that'd be interesting. Ed Malloy. All right, Kareem, you're getting a dunk for saying we should foul the refs. That's funny. 284. Can you get to 300, man? You're very close. You got to get to 300 by the end of this month. So we'll have to see. 284 for you, sir. And you've got 16 more dunks to get to 300 for the year. All right, let's see. Respect to him. Respect to Austin. Nah, I won't do that. Bryce is saying foul the refs. I know. Isn't that hilarious? James is saying AR is a steal. He went undrafted. Yeah, I'm still not doing this, guys. I can tell there's some things about him that are just like he wouldn't work in any other team in the league. This is totally a propped up house of cards in some ways. And like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to respect Austin Reeves, guys. I'm just not. You guys can go ahead. That's y'all's right, but not me. I'm not doing it. Smith saying this. Hopefully the Raptors can play through all the LeBron worshipers in the building Thursday night. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. In some ways, we want to make them leave unhappy. We want to defend the North against the Lakers and the Laker worshipers. They're coming into our arena for sure on Thursday night. There's going to be a lot of them. There will be for sure. Smooth saying, imagine I thought Gary Trent Jr. was better than Reeves. How stupid was I? I don't know. I may still think that. And I don't think I'm stupid. Gary could have been better than him. You know what? If Gary is given all the things Austin was given, he'd probably be just as good as him. Yeah. In some ways, we got to understand some people get coddled and get a lot of certain things because the league really wants them to be certain things. Let's just put it that way. I think that's where I wasn't trying to get into, but I will a little bit on this. I think if Gary Trent Jr. got red carpets rolled out for him in certain ways to be successful, yeah, he could probably figure out how to be really good too in that level. Seriously, if he was getting certain things, is just saying. Anyway, Nako's saying this. Bringing Dennis in was a pivotal retool move. OG trade pivotal rebuild move, though it wasn't that much before the Pascal trade. Pascal was a full rebuild move. Okay, all right. That's the way you want to look at it. That's fine. That's all fair. And it seems like it makes sense. James is saying Ingram takes a lot of offensive pressure off Scottie. He's still a good player. Of course he is. Ingram's great. I don't want anybody to think I'm bashing him. In some ways, the things that I talk about with Ingram as far as constructive criticism this past week is all from the bottom of my heart with goodness to be like, let's get better as a team. And Brandon, as an individual, this is how you can help us. It's never, ever like I'm mad at him or I'm angry or anything like that. I love Brandon Ingram, and I want to see him kick so much ass for the Raptors for years to come. That's right. Mischief's here. The baseman's in the house. Ingram is a soldier. After I saw him twist his ankle and come back out, he did the right thing. He left right away, stretched it out, and came back. See, a guy who works out a lot named Mischief is going to know about taking care of your body and keeping it right. And that's what he's doing here. And he understands that. Yep. So we're saying Chris Paul was notified he was being sent home right before 3 a.m. Eastern time. Terrible. In the middle of the night. Yeah. Well, it's the Clippers. That's when they got Kawhi, too. They do things in the middle of the night. That's right. Clippers on the East Coast trip. Yeah, that's crazy. Mischief saying, Lex, if you could work for the Raptors organization, what would you want to do? Well, I did work for the Raptors organization. You know, when I was a kid, when I was much younger, and I was still in Tallahassee, and the Raptors had just started, I had a moment one day where I realized I want to work for the Raptors. And I did. I came to Toronto in 1998, came back in December, and then they hired me in the spring of 99, and I started working at Air Canada Center when they first opened it. Like I worked the very first Raptor game there against the Grizzlies. And I worked for 5 years there, and I was a sub guy. I was in food and beverage, but it was fun. I mean, I don't know. If I worked for them, obviously, I'd love to be play-by-play or something like that. Some sort of media job where I covered the team. I don't know any of the person's particular spot. Randy Urban had a cool spot while he still had it. That would have been a fun job. I don't want to be a sideline reporter. I could be a play-by-play. I could be one of the production assistants like Mike Roach. There's a couple of different jobs I could probably do or in the media around the Raptors that I'm qualified to do and I could do very well that I naturally would be in. But I'd rather be this outlaw rogue like this with no answering to bosses or people, just kind of doing my own thing. Because in some ways I was like, look, I could be like William Liu and do a Raptors show for Sportsnet, but he didn't want to do it for them for too long because in some ways they were confining him in the corporate structure. And I don't know. It would be a media job mischief of some sort for sure. Kareem's saying this. Thanks, Baseman, for asking me the question. I would be the mascot and just dry hump everyone. Okay. Kareem's just jumping in. Now he's really trying to get dunks here. And I don't know what it is about dry humping and streaking at games. Man, they won't let you be the mascot if you have a proclivity to streak. Come on now. Raptors champs say, good morning, Raptors freaks and champs. That's right. We are champions. 2019 NBA champions. That's right. And Mischief's laughing at Kareem for his joke about being the mascot. Maybe you have a chance with a tempo. Kareem, seriously, you could be the Tempo's mascot. They looking for a mascot. There's Teresa Resch on the Richard Deitch show talking about the mascot's going to have to be a feel. The mascot's like the distillation of the whole fan nation of the Tempo, and that's they're going to be the leader and the epitome, just like the Raptor is for the Toronto Raptors. Well, the Tempo's mascot is going to hit some certain notes and ways in representing that franchise. And well, Kareem, there's a job opening for Tempo mascot. If you're really interested, they're looking for people right now. You could actually, I think she said that the listing is up and that they're taking applications for this job. Seriously, you could do it, man. Mo's giving me the W stream, W vibes. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Give me my cutoff. Thank you, producer Mo. I appreciate you producing the show. Let's keep climbing. That's right. I'm all about that. That's right. We got about 20 minutes till 2 hours when we get out of here. Wild wings, hot wings. That's right. Oh, he said it. I got to eat a little bit more. Actually, I'm just going to eat a carrot stick. Celery, carrot, celery, Lex. Yeah, wild wings, y'all. Wild wings. Get your wild wings. I like the Maverick. I ordered the Maverick, which is 5 orders of wings, and just get a whole bunch and take a whole bunch home and then eat wings for a couple days. It's awesome. Okay, eat this celery, man. Nobody wants to see you do your stream with celery in your mouth. Come on now. Black Mamba's in the house. Good to see Black Mamba. Giannis is going to sign with the Raptors next summer. He loves the African community in Canada. God bless the Raptors freak. I appreciate that, Black Mamba. Yes, I thought he would have done this, but man, his guy is gone now. I think that the chances of Giannis coming to Toronto are not going to happen at this point. It would have happened if Ujiri was still here. There's a possibility, but now that Ujiri's gone, he has no reason to come here. The Raptors to him are a nightmare. His whole entire career, the Raptors have been a torture to him. They put him out in the playoffs. We've beaten him every single time he's played us in the playoffs. He hates us. He hates the Raptors. Don't get it twisted. He liked Masai. Masai was a man who helped him come from Greece to the United States and play. And he was very pivotal in helping him in his young life. So he has a lot that he owes to Masai, but not to the Raptors. So he won't come here, trust me. And all the Raptors fans that wanted Giannis to come here, that's over as soon as Ed Rogers fires Masai Ujiri. That's over. Everything that he associates with the Raptors, if it was Masai here, he's like, yeah, I would come and work for Masai. But now it's only the negative memories, and that's the defeats in the playoffs and the Raptors being the team that beat the Bucks all the time. So, yeah. And Giannis is one of these players like Joakim Noah that is like, I'm not friends with everyone. And in some ways, I am for my team and my teammates and my city. And in some ways, I don't want to be friends with the Knicks. I don't want to be friends with the Raptors. I don't want to be friends with the Celtics. I don't want to be friends with any of these teams. I hate them all. That's Giannis right there. So I'm as much as I would like this to be true, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Kaz is saying this 2019-2020 season, Grant played for Denver. Oh, he was just there for 1 year, though. I would associate him with Detroit in the last stop he was on before coming to Portland, Jeremy Grant, because he was kind of like one of the main pieces of the Pistons just a couple years ago, right? Right. Okay. But yeah, he was on Denver for a second. I don't even remember that. Let's see. Black Mamba. Giannis isn't a free agent until summer of 2028. Okay. Hang on. It just jump. Excuse me. All right. Make it make sense. Well, I just did, Cass. Adam Silver orchestrates another huge superstar deal in the middle of the season to funnel a top player to a top market team. And he funnels the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, to New York Knicks in a blockbuster trade around Christmas because it worked so well with Luka last year. Could that make sense? Raptors champ saying New York start and see how injury prone OG is. I always felt like we won that trade. Well, either way, yeah. In some ways, we love OG. I don't want to diss him. But yeah, that's part of it. Danilo Gallinari retired. Yep, the great Italian player after 20 years of playing has retired as of this week. And Seymour saying, I waxed that wing. Yeah, I put that down pretty good. There, yeah, you're dead. I had to do it, right? Because it's it's part of the straight goods on Canadian goods today. That's it. All right, let's do the Instagram stories. The Raptors 905 are playing Capital City Go-Go tonight at Paramount Fine Food Center. The game will start at 7:30. We'll be on YouTube. If you want to watch the game with us, we'll be in the chat, super fan mode. Blake Murphy and myself will probably all be in there so you can talk to us. Coco Wade has got some highlights from last night. The ball movement of the Raptors was exceptional. I'm seeing at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 passes before BI puts it in right there. That's a beautiful, beautiful play right there. Lots of movement. And they're all celebrating Scottie's Defensive Player of the Month. Coco Wade's got him up. Let's see. We got Sandro's put it up. Scottie's sharing it as the first Defensive Player of the Month in franchise history for the Raptors. He's very proud of himself. It's a big accomplishment. So Scott's really feeling it. He's put it up to God be the glory, is what Scott's saying about winning Defensive Player of the Month. And he's showing the dunk, right, Sandro, where he passed it to him. Scottie sent it back. There's the block on him at the end of the game on Demi. Yeah, lots of good stuff happening with the Raptors from the game last night against the Portland Trailblazers. There's Grady. Some people said he traveled on that little layup that he had in transition, but he had to collect the ball and he could step, and it was fine. And the team photo came out, Scottie with the chain. The locker room photos been happening. Quickly saying Defensive Player of the Month for Scottie, God sent is what he's written on there. Colin Murray Boyles has got a picture of him and getting ready for the game, and he's also celebrating Scottie's Defensive Player of the Month. They're all posting it. Jamal Shedd's got a little Christmas ad. He's got a book called Click Clack Moo. Click Clack Moo. And he wants y'all to buy it. It's a book by some author, and I guess he's just doing this to be kind to the Jewel Institute of Education. So yeah, a Christmas message from Jamal Shedd about Click Clack Moo. So go buy Click Clack Moo for the child near you. That's right. He's putting on blast Scottie, Defensive Player of the Month. Everybody's going to celebrate this. All the Raptors posted it. It's mandatory. It's not mandatory, but they're doing it. Jamison Battle posted it in the score. Jacoby posted it in the score, and the chain gang after the game. That's right. Jacoby rolling the ball to Curtis Andrade, the equipment manager, who kicked the ball back to him, and then he hits a 3. That's a nice little play. That was pretty cool. Yuta Watanabe celebrating with his Japanese team, Team Japan, winning in their game and FIBA qualifiers. Fred VanVleet is putting Pat Riley's rules on blast with Gary Vitti and Byron Scott, talking about Pat Riley and him being tough on them. Let's see what else. Fred repping the WNBA at the game the other night for the Rockets, wearing a WNBA hoodie, putting the Women's National Basketball Association on blast. Charles Oakley posting him at the courtside with Antonio Davis and the Raptor, talking to them on his Instagram with God's Plan, Drake playing. And then they's like also got this weird cartoon thing where Charles Oakley was hanging out with Dennis Rodman at some party in Miami. And we're talking, and Dennis is like, Charles, you got a restaurant? He's like, yeah, I do. You want to go to it? He's like, yeah, I'll come over there. And then Charles is like, I'll meet you there. And Charles is like still hanging out the one place they're at. And Dennis goes over there immediately. And he's at Charles's restaurant. And apparently he's just like taking stuff off people's plates while he's in there. And he's causing all the confusion. And the restaurant manager calls Charles Oakley and said, get over here. Dennis Rodman's here at the restaurant causing all kinds of problems. So pretty funny, man. I don't know. These Dennis Rodman stories are hilarious. I love Dennis. The Raptor is putting Scottie on blast for Defensive Player of the Month. That's right. There he is messing with Grady while he's doing his shoot around before the game. And there he is messing with Oakley. Oakley's trying to say, hey, I'm trying to watch the game. And there's the Raptor on stilts, even with that, too. Let's see. What else did we have on here? Savannah Hamilton and Ashley Docking interviewing Teresa Resch on Cinderella Stories. Check it out. It's coming out soon. And let's see what Savannah's saying about Kathy Engelbert and the WNBA proposing a 7-figure base max salary with earlier start the season and removal of team housing. So they're saying one of the things they're saying is WNBA players will get $1 million base salary, but they won't get funding for their housing anymore. And they want to start the season earlier in the year. So, and this is what Savannah's saying. The salaries better be worth it for an earlier start and eliminating player housing is what her opinion is on that. Yeah, there you go. There's Norman coming in the game with his fit, Norman Powell. Let's see, Matt Devlin, Kayla Gray, and Jack Armstrong, the TSN crew there. And there's Leo Routens with the TSN crew in the studio, even including little Wilson Chang, who's so annoying, man. These are the top artists for Elijah Martin right now. Tech, Morgan Wallen, Lil Baby, Drake, and Rod Wave is what he's listening to these days. There's your Instagram stories right there. Interesting stuff there. All right, yeah, let's see. Did anybody say anything else? He's dead. All right, let me keep going. And with my tabs, Raptors Reddit reactions. Anything interesting here? Talking about Grady Dick. Well, one of the things that we need to understand about Grady Dick is he has the highest plus minus for the Raptors this season at 130 plus. Did you guys know that? The Grady's got the highest plus minus of all the Raptors. Scottie's second with a plus 96. So Grady must be doing something right, even if he's not shooting as well. He has the highest plus minus, so we win the most when he's out there. You guys want to know the top 8? It's Grady, Scottie, Sandro at 92, Emmanuel at 60, tied with Shed at 60. Pirtle is number 6 at plus 41. Jamison Battle's a plus 40, and then RJ Barrett's a plus 23. So yeah, that's pretty interesting stat right there, and that's showing that Grady is doing well. All right, happy birthdays real quick today. Happy birthday to former assistant coach of the Toronto Raptors, Jim Brewer. Jim Brewer is 74 today. He is the uncle of Doc Rivers, guys. He is the uncle of Doc Rivers, and he played in the NBA for a long time, but he was an assistant coach for us for a brief period of time. So yeah, happy birthday, former Raptors assistant coach Jim Brewer. Also, happy birthday to former Raptor Lindsey Hunter. Lindsey Hunter played for the Raptors for 1 year. He played 29 games for us, and he averaged almost 10 points a game. I saw Lindsey once as a Raptor at the Air Canada Center. I was up on the 3rd floor near the practice elevators, and he came out in the middle of a concert. We were actually having like a Shania Twain concert or something, and we were working, and I was food and beverage. And he came out of the practice facility all of a sudden, and I said, "Hey, Lindsey Hunter," and he waved to me. So there's a little Lindsey Hunter story. But yeah, Lindsey's birthday is today, and he is, as of today, Lindsey Hunter is 55 today. So happy 55th birthday to Lindsey Hunter. All right, let's see. Check your Yahoo Fantasy teams and your matchups. Get your lineup set, and let's do the classic card of the day. All right, yeah, yesterday we had Vince Carter as the classic card. It was kind of interesting, man. All right, let's see who we get today. Okay, this is kind of okay, this one's tough, guys. This is a tough card. This will probably be worth about 200 points. So select easy if you're here. Let's get this one. This is a Washington player, which is interesting because we're playing Capital City Go-Go. I don't want to get the reflection of the screen on there as bad. So if you can tell what player this is, full name answer, you get the classic card. Whoever's here still to play for the classic card. I wish the reflection wasn't coming off from my screen. so much. If I put it just really close, it's a tough card, man, and nobody wants to guess. His name is very Holmes. Holmes? No, I don't know Holmes. Sherlock Holmes. You're trying to say Rashawn Holmes? We do full name answers here. It's not Rashawn Holmes. This person has a junior at the end of his name. I'll give you all that clue. This guy has a junior at the end of his name. This guy is so tough. In some ways, I want to give you all 300 points for him. Let me bring him up even closer. Can you tell who that is? Man, it's a wizard, and he's a no-name wizard. This is going to be so hard. Dennis Smith Jr. That's a good guess, Kaz. No, it's not Dennis Smith Jr. Okay, let me see. How do I say this? All right. His last name is the same last name as a Raptor who had his birthday this past week that we celebrated, a former Raptor who won the dunk contest with the Reebok pump. So if you know the answer to that, you can get his last name at least. If you know that answer, somebody's birthday earlier this week that won the dunk contest doing the Reebok pump. Jones is not the last name. That is not the right last name. And James, stop doing half names. You're half-assing. You got to write the full name in. Jones don't mean shit to me. Bill Jones, there's so many Jermaine Jones. There's so many Joneses. There's a lot of Joneses in the history of the NBA. So you ain't telling me nothing with Holmes or Jones. We need the full name answer. The last name of this guy is the same as the dunk champion for the Raptors. Well, he wasn't on the Raptors when he won the dunk championship. Larry Robinson. That's getting a little better, but it's a junior. And his last name is the same as former Raptor who won the dunk championship with the Reebok pump. If you know who won the championship with the Reebok pump, you got the last name of this player. And then the first name is a historic movie with Brad Pitt in it. And it's from like a old civilization. Derek Jones Jr. is not right, but Jones Jr. is the last two parts of this answer. The first name is the one you got to get right now, James. But that's a good guess. It's not Derek Jones. The first name is a movie that Brad Pitt was in that it was a period piece. And I think he was a Spartan. That makes sense. We got less than 5 minutes. Something Moon? No, it's not Jamario. It was the name is Brown. It was Brown because D Brown won the dunk contest with the Reebok pump. And that's who I was talking about. The Brown Jr. is the part we figured out already. That's right. Oh, wait, you're wrong. Yeah. Why'd you say Jones? It's Brown. I guess I gave it away just now. So his last name is Brown, y'all. D Brown is the dunker I was talking about, not Jamario. So, yeah, the last part of it is Brown Jr. So who's the first name? And it's a period movie piece that Brad Pitt starred in the movie, and he was a Spartan. I don't know if you guys know your classic movies to get that. This is one of the hardest classic cards we've had in a while. A lot of them have been very easy and like well-known players, but this dude is such an unknown player, and y'all can't figure this out from my clues. Seriously, y'all, come on now. All right, so the last name, I've already given it away. It is not Jones Jr. It's Brown Jr. because the dunk champion was D Brown, who did the Reebok pump, and it is Junior, so it's Brown Jr. But the first name is a movie that Brad Pitt was in. It's a period piece from a long time ago where he plays a Spartan, and I don't know, is Colin Farrell in that movie too? Something like that. Troy Brown Jr. That's right. The movie was Troy. And there you go. James got it. It was like pulling teeth, man. Troy Brown Jr. is the right card. Man, I don't like getting those obscure cards sometimes, especially when there's not as many people in the chat to answer. But yeah, that was tough. All right, that was pulling teeth. I'm going to give you 200 points because I kind of screwed that up. I gave you guys the last name too easy. You guys were saying Jones, and it was actually Brown. 200 points for James on the classic card today. Thank you, Rapid Freak James, for finishing it before 2 hours came. That's right, because I was like, I want to get done before 2 hours is up. All right, y'all. Tonight, 9:05, play Capital City Go-Go in Paramount Fine Food Center. And the referees will be Pat O'Connell, number 73, Julian Scott, number 61, and Josh Reed, number 28. And their team has guys like Sharif Cooper, Jameer Watkins, Tristan Vucevic, and Leaky Black. The Raptors won last night against the Trailblazers, 3-point win. And my stars of the game were Scottie Barnes, Emmanuel Quickley, Grady Dick, Colin Murray Boyles, and Jakob Pell. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks for watching the Rapid Freak stream today. I hope y'all have a fantastic day. And I'll see y'all tomorrow for a preview of the Laker game and a review of the 9:05 game tonight against Capital City. All right. Have a great day, and get out there, touch grass if you can find it, and raptorize your day like Nab Bhatti would. Thank you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go Raptors. And if you can, watch that Teresa Resch interview. It's very, very good, guys. Very, very good.